after podcasts, my husband will usually say, like, "What did you talk about?" And it's just mind blowing to be like trauma, but we laughed the whole time. Like,
Exactly.
so
What's up, guys? We're dreamers, we're moms, and welcome to the Mommy Artist Podcast. Now let's get creatively unhinged. What's up, guys, and welcome to the Mommy Artist Podcast. Today's guest has created something really special, not just a story, but a way for families to talk about things that aren't always easy to explain. Kendall is an author whose inspiration comes straight from her life at home. Her kids, Alma, Max, her husband, Matt, and all the laughter, curiosity, and a little bit of chaos that fills their days. But her work doesn't just capture the fun, magical parts of motherhood. It also gently holds space for the harder moments, the days that feel a little heavier, a little cloudier. Through her books, Kendall is helping children understand something so important, that sometimes parents have hard days too, and that doesn't change how deeply they are loved. At the heart of it all is a message that feels simple but matters so much. It's okay not to be okay. So, today we're talking about creativity, motherhood, imagination, mental health, and how storytelling can become a bridge for conversations we don't always know how to start. Let's get into it. Kendall, hi.
okay. I'm
Welcome to
so
the show.
happy to be here.
Oh my gosh, no, I'm so happy to meet you. I love everything you're doing, the whole idea behind your book. I was doing research on you when I was writing your episode, and just it's so inspiring. And I mean, really a space that that needed to be filled, like a book that needed to be written that wasn't, right? I mean, you couldn't find any material on it. And so you wrote it yourself.
It feels surreal to have like reached out to because I'm like artist, and then to see myself that way, knowing where it all came from, is just kind of a huge turn for me.
No, it's an exciting, like, such an exciting turn. I think that, even you, I mean, this time last year, I wasn't considering myself an artist because I'm an actress by like, trade or whatever. And I have a film degree, but I wasn't acting in plays. I wasn't making any money off of my art. And so it was very hard for me to call myself an artist, but through therapy and really like through hard work, it was like, okay, it's not just about making money. It's not just about, having to do the thing every day. It's more about just like your outlook on life and like how you approach things and how you really try to help the community, honestly. And your gift happens to be through words and through encouragement and helping other people have those hard conversations that we don't know how to start. So I think that's amazing.
It's been interesting in the author journey because I find myself still like I don't think we'll ever get out of like FOMO, and I see how a lot of authors are doing events and outreach and marketing, and there's this
Mhm.
little bit of I'm not doing it that way, so am I an author? But then our reason for creating this book is just very different. Like I'm not going to be out at a farmer's market and be at this fun
Right.
booth to bring kids up to. And
Right.
so we go to wellness markets and we go to wellness centers and offices and therapy offices and stuff. And so it's just about having to realize kind of, that whole idea like art is subjective. So like where's my
Mhm.
audience who resonates with that? And it has
Mhm.
been podcasting and getting out there and talking to different people.
Mhm. That's interesting. That because you're right. It's like, I mean, especially a children's book too, right? Because it's like to market it being like a happy, thing. But this is what's really important right now. I mean, this is what the kids need to be learning, especially at schools. I mean, I think there's such a lack of that education right now. And I think this book is a great resource for people and for parents and kids to get that knowledge that don't necessarily have access to therapy or have access to the vocabulary to even express those emotions. So your book is allowing so many people to, connect and to get that kind of like, therapy or like understanding that they need without having to go to, therapy or a mental health facility or anything like that. So I think that's super important and we really need it. So I kind of just wanted to start talking about little Kendall growing up. Were you were you like an artsy kid, would you say? Were you interested in the arts at a young age?
Yeah, that's where a lot of the depression came from.
Mhm.
I was very creative, outgoing. I loved reading. I loved fantasy books. My mom
Mhm.
was like, we had a really great piece of property with woods and everything. So
Oh,
we'd be
cool.
exploring. And I grew up in a very small town, very like
Mhm.
cul-de-sac areas, and that
Yep.
was very Stepfordy, I guess,
Yep.
where everyone was a certain way and I wasn't. And when
Right.
I wasn't, it was this foundation that I was an outsider and everything about me was wrong. And so a
Mhm.
lot of it was just, we were in that small area from like kindergarten to 12th grade, and
Oh my
that's all
gosh.
your foundation is built on. And it
Right.
was just this, I like being creative, I like being different, but it's not really well received. And so
Right.
the creative part of me is what I enjoy, but is also where a lot of the what's wrong with me came from. And
That's
when you get
interesting.
out of it, you learn like nothing's wrong with me, it's them.
I know. The world's so much bigger. But when you're a little, a little girl and come from a small place, it seems like that's the whole world. Like even myself, I remember in high school I was a theater kid. And so that wasn't the cool thing to do. And I was also like ostracized at times like what are you doing? This isn't cool. Like this is not even my parents were, kind of like, you try volleyball or I'm like, "No, I'm not. That's not me," or whatever. Um, so I can definitely understand that, but I'm so glad that you got out of that though and realized that the world is such a big place and being creative and weird and all the things is like cool. Like that's what makes our society cool, and that's what, like I feel like that's what makes the world go round, like, if everyone was the same, like, how boring.
My daughter asks a couple times, she's like, "Am I weird?" And I was like, "Yes," and I love it. I was like, "If you
Yes,
were normal, I'd be so bored with you all day." And so
I know.
and just normalize it for her. But you had
Absolutely.
said something earlier about just that acceptance and the idea, like, we in our small town, because the classes were small, like, you still get invited, but it's because everyone's supposed to be invited and stuff. So I
Right,
know there's this sense of, like, I'm not actually invited, it's just the mom told them to send an invitation to everyone. But for my parents, it wasn't that conversation to have the mental health moments and say, "Hey, I think I'm really depressed because I know I don't fit in," when they see you
right,
going to events and they see you on the sports teams and stuff, and they don't
right,
see or hear the bullying or know why it hits. And so a lot of my early years where I was like, "I'm very depressed," it's the, "You have a roof over your head and food on the table and you have friends, like, what do you have to be sad about?" And it was harder to explain, like, "Well, I don't think they're actually my friends. I think I'm, like,
mhm,
doing something for them. I'm giving them a ride to the mall. So that's the only
right,
reason they invite me is because mom brings them." And then when
right,
we get to the mall, they're walking apart from me and stuff, and we weren't able to really sit and have that conversation in a way that my parents ever actually heard it. I mean, even
mhm.
admittedly in doing this, my mom was like, "What do you mean you were that depressed all through high school? You would have said something." And I was like, "Mom,
Oh,
I
wow.
tried to say something."
Right,
And so that was the foundation that we wanted to build, was not to hide that from my daughter, not to have her be 16 and be like, "We left the room," or "We shielded you," or "We didn't tell you what the world was really like." It's, "Hey,
mhm,
this is kind of how it goes. And if you understand that everyone is different and has different opinions, and if you ever feel really upset about something, we can talk through all of those emotions." And
mhm.
she's 4, and I did have to explain to her, like, getting ghosted by mom friends and stuff. She's like, "Why don't we see them anymore?" And I didn't budge
Right.
it. I was just like, "I don't know. We just don't. They don't answer." Like, "That's the
I
world, girl."
know.
And so,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
it's just trying to break that cycle in a balanced way, to not do it too heavy or
Mhm.
clinical, and just say, like, "Okay, let's find some analogies."
Yes, and I love the cloud analogy. That's so great. I think, our parents' generation just are way, way as far as mental health discussions, as far as even emotional discussions, they're just way behind. I don't think that they just even had because they did have that mentality, like, "You have a roof over your head, you have food to eat, you should be grateful for this." And it's like, "No, no, no, no." Like, because I suffered from, like, depression in high school and as well, and it was I don't know, it was, like, it was a newer thing for, like, a high school student to, like, feel they're like, "Oh, you have all how you have this and this and this." I was like, "I know, but I'm still not happy, so something has to be off, like and they did the whole, like, chemical imbalance thing explaining to me. They're like, "Well, there's something in your brain that's not" and for me at that time, I was able to take that, I'm like, "Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with me, there's, like, literally a health there's something wrong with my brain," and I kinda, like, ran with that for a while, but now looking back as an adult and having gone to therapy for a long time, I mean, there were just things growing up that I don't know, made me depressed and that maybe my parents could have handled differently. But I don't fault them because I just don't think they had the
Yeah.
awareness or knowledge that we have today. And but it is unfortunate that we had to go through that to then give but fortunate for our kids that we get to now help them along this journey a little bit easier because the world is harsh and hard and crazy, and they need us. They need our help.
If you like compare it to the evolution of say like electronics and like where like the
Mhm.
cell phone has come and stuff, it's that idea like my parents' generation, my dad's dad was the like, boys don't cry, suck it up, rub dirt on it.
Yes,
So then when my dad becomes a dad who's like, I'm gonna hug you and say I love you, that means he did better than his dad. But
exactly.
when I needed something more to say, I need you to sit and talk with me through my feelings, and they're like, no, I hugged you. What do you need? That's like, we're the next step. The next step is like,
Yes.
okay, we want to really sit and unpack what you're going through and kind of talk through those emotions. Because I know I've gotten into it with my dad. He's like, I can't wait till you have a kid and they do this. And I was like, but then I'm going to sit with them and pause and say, how did I hurt your feelings? And
Exactly.
you don't do that. So the next step is that change and that evolving and getting better. And it's just I last night, we watched, like, the Noah Kahn documentary on Netflix, and I love his
Mhm.
music. I didn't really know a lot of it about his backstory, and I did not expect to be, like, sobbing through
Oh
it.
my gosh, I should watch it. I don't
You
know it is his
should.
backstory either.
But there is this part where he said this line where he was like, I've come to terms with there are just some conversations I'm never going to get to have with my parents. And I had to
Mhm.
like pause it and cry. And my husband's like, I heard it. And I was like, I know. And but that's kind of it. It's like even in all of this stuff that I'm doing with the book and kind of telling my story and whether or not my parents listen to the podcast, it's just sometimes we're not going to be able to go and say the stuff because it's not their foundation. And
Exactly.
I am interested because I have like my daughter's 4 and some of the conversations she's had with me and like identified in her emotions. I am like scared and excited at the same time to go, what does it look like? Or what is it going to look like with someone who is open and in tune with their feelings and not
Mhm.
self-doubting themselves? And
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, it's going to be fascinating because she gets this generation of that safety that we
Mhm.
kind of buried down.
Mhm. I think it's exciting. I think I parent my kids the same way. I give them time to think and process, and I don't, punish for, certain like quick reactions that I know aren't, that just because they're little and they don't have the words to act out in a certain way. Like I'm excited also to see how they, like you were saying, how they grow up and navigate life.
It's one of my favorite stories. So people ask me like, what does success look like? And we had this moment with my daughter because I call it my cloud. One day she had started we have a circle house, and she kinda does this circle, and she has this really weird face, and I said, "What's wrong?" And we had a hard morning, not
Mhm.
gentle parenting. And
Hey.
she goes, nice Alma's lost in the woods. And I was like, what? And she goes, it's not me. Nice Alma's lost in the woods. And my first reaction was like, go get her back. This is hard. And then my second reaction was like, I sat and I was like talking through it with her. I was like, so this isn't you. And she goes, no, I'm just having a really hard morning. So then I tried to
Interesting.
use my language. I was like, is it a cloud? And she ended up saying, she was like, it's a tornado. And she's like, I know I can't throw stuff, but can I go in my room and throw stuff? And I was like, yes. And so I had to text my husband because I knew he was on his way home. I was like, when you come home, don't ruin it. Like,
Right.
she's
We're
doing
working through a
something.
thing here.
Yeah. And so now that's what she does, and it does take me a moment because sometimes we'll be having a rough morning and she'll go tornado, and I know I have to, like, respect it and be like, "Alright, just let it happen," and I don't want to always have to, like, deal with it,
I
but it
know.
is this at least she is recognizing that this is not her baseline and that
Yeah.
she's like, "I need help," and then we ask her, we're like, "Do you wanna be in the room by yourself? Do you want us to go away?" And then in parenting, we also get to say, like, I'll tell her, I was like, I don't like your tornadoes. Mom can't handle it. So you need to
Mhm.
go have that over there.
Right.
And I need to go over here. Otherwise, I'm going to start yelling at you. And that's not fair. And so we've been
Right.
able to use that language with her to tell her, like, all right, it's not the best thing, but here's how we're all going to react. And so that's helped us in this like ability to not put that same guilt and shame on ourselves for like not handling a tantrum the right way. But she's
Mhm.
identifying that she's having a tantrum that is different than our normal daily routine.
Gosh, that's so self-aware for a 4-year-old. That's incredible that she's
We'll
able
see
to,
how it
like,
goes.
put that metaphor together. I know, you might be in trouble. She's
I
gonna, like,
am.
take over the world one day.
So sometimes when she gets in it, I look at her face and I ask my husband, I was like, "Is that what I look like when you're arguing with me? Because this is rough." And I was like, "I don't know if I'm sorry or like I don't know what the word is, but I'm just like, we're gonna sync up one day and it's just gonna be like a lot going on in
Yeah,
here."
teenage years, those are
Yeah.
gonna be fun. No, okay, well, thank you for so much for sharing those stories and being vulnerable with me, and I think a lot of people listening are gonna relate. Do you remember having the first hard conversation with your kids? Like, do you remember the first time you mentioned perhaps a cloudy day or use that metaphor?
I remember the first time I talked about it with my husband because
Mhm.
we had a horrible miscarriage, and when
I'm
my
sorry.
daughter came, I knew, like, I already had depression, so PPD was already a thing,
Yep,
and it was a lot of times I was home on maternity leave, and he's out working, and it's just that being alone, and she was born with, like, a hernia, so she was always crying and always had to move, and it was just tiring.
that's hard.
And
Yep,
I put her on the couch behind me, and I was sitting in front of the couch on the floor, just, like, sobbing, and, like, she
yep,
was sleeping, she wasn't even crying, so I had called, and I was like, "She's not even hard right now. I just can't stop crying, and I don't know why," and I started telling him, like, "It's this feeling, like, it's sunny, like, she's not crying, she's happy, she's here, we had a baby, and I just don't enjoy it right now." And it was feeling like I was in shade, and when I started kind of trying to get someone to come babysit and stuff, a lot of it was that I should just be excited because we had the baby, like, "You didn't get the first, you have one, like, you sure you want me to
yeah,
come take it?" And I was like, "Yes."
yeah,
And so it was that conversation of when we had my son, the pregnancy was really hard and my daughter's language was catching on and she started to ask like, "Are you not excited he's coming and stuff?" And I was like, I am, but it's just hard for mom. Like growing it is hard. I'm
yes,
sensory based, so it was disgusting to me. It was like I
yep.
just kind of want him out and then he ended up in the NICU. So we
Oh
had to
gosh.
talk through like why mom felt sad, even though we're
Yes.
bringing him home and excited. And so we had a cloud pillow and I would kind of talk to her about it. Like it's the cloud. It's not your brother, it's not mom, it's something is kind of shaded here. And we were able to have those conversations. So I was like, she sees the change. And my husband was a lot better at holding stuff together because he knew I
Mhm.
was going through it. So I
Mhm.
really wanted to explain too, like feeding was trauma for me from my experience with my daughter. So I was like, I wanted to explain why dad was taking over a lot more in a way
Right.
that wasn't like dad's the only one excited,
Right.
dad's the only one bonding at this age. It was mom can't because something.
Right. I mean, that's incredible. And that so you started using the cloud metaphor right away, and it was, I'm sure, so much easier for her to understand.
Yeah,
And even
it
I
it rhymed, which was like the cheesy. It was like a cat cloud came to today, mom can't play. Um, and the beach hit because I don't love the beach, and she knew that. Like, well, I don't love water, so I'm not a water parent. So
Mhm,
anytime we would go somewhere, I would explain to her, like, you know, how dad goes in the water and has fun.
mhm.
Mom sits over here. I was like, that's what it's like. Like,
Yeah.
dad's okay with feeding, mom is not. Like,
Yeah.
and so it was
I love that.
finding an example for us.
Yeah, because kids need metaphors. I think adults do too, though. So it's like even gosh, even it resonates with me a cloudy day, and, like, I might start using that with my kids too because, I mean, sometimes you're just not on. Like, I call it, like, just being on, and they want a version of me I'm unable to give them at that moment for whatever reason, and, it has to be okay, like, mom's just gonna take a nap right now. Mom is just gonna and that needs to be okay. Like, they can't they have to understand that moms are people. I tell them all the time, I'm a person too. I have feelings too when they, get like say really mean things to me or whatever. They're like, "No, you're a mom. You're not I'm like, "No, moms are people too." Like it's hard for them to understand.
Yeah, and it's that like, there are just some things that I just inherently don't enjoy doing, and
Mhm.
having to do them because you're a mom is sometimes really hard for me too, and
Yep.
so she she's in this age of, like, learning that kind of I don't know what the word is besides manipulation, but it's not that mean, but that little kid, like, boundary, right? Like,
Yes.
so the if I don't wanna play something, she'll be like, you don't love me, like, you don't
Oh
wanna
yeah.
play like
Oh
that,
yeah.
and so I'll tell her, I was like, "No, mom loves, like, playing Barbie dolls, but I mom does not love playing horse, so, like, pick a different activity," and so we try and talk through those
Mhm.
emotions where it's also just telling her, like, "No, girl, mom doesn't wanna play, like, I have stuff
Yeah.
to get done, I've been with
Yep.
you all morning, like, I don't wanna play that," and sometimes now we are in, like, the Barbie pretend imaginary friend zone, and she'll be like, "Let's play this game, pretend you're doing this, this, and this," and I was like, "That sounds boring." I was like, "Let's try again." And I'm like I don't know, people get shocked, they're like, and I'm like, "You don't have to pamper your child
No.
24/7. 1, she should entertain herself. 2, like, you don't do everything everyone asks you to do all the time. You as an adult get to choose, so why not just teach them, like, I don't like that game." And it has helped because in reality, like, her friends come over and they're picking what game to play, and I'm like, "They don't all love your games too, so you need to
Mhm.
learn to, like,
True.
just hear that critique, like, that game
Mhm.
doesn't sound interesting. Let's try something else."
That's funny. My daughter did that to me too. Or she would like want me to participate and then want to I'd say something and she'd be like, "No, that's not what she's supposed to say." And I was like, "What is she like, no, I'm allowed to say what Kelly's supposed to say to
Yeah.
Deborah or like whatever like that." And so I totally get what you're saying that how do you find that balance between being honest with your child but still making them feel safe?
Ooh, I think it just goes hand in hand. Like, I definitely think there are conversations and honesty in our family that I know we have to, like, I guess, edit when we're with, like, her friends or something at a
I get it.
party. Like, we would just be a little bit more upfront with her,
Right.
and we try and balance it, but in the back of my head, it's she's 4 and her language is just amazing, and it took me a while to kind of take credit for that. I was like, "Oh, like,
Mhm.
something she's gifted, something there," and it's realizing, like, we kind of just were always open with her about
Yes.
things, and her language has hit because of it, so we don't want to we find, like, this safe PG and adult
Right.
conversations, but at the same time, like, we're just open with her. I remember one time we were we were gonna go somewhere and a friend was with us and getting in our car and she was walking towards the road and I was like, "Girl, you're gonna get run over and die." And they were like, "That's blunt." And I was like, "Did she go on the road?" And they're like, "No." And I was like, "Is she ever gonna go on the road again?" "No." And I'm like, if I say like, "That's unsafe," then you get the why and what. And I'm like, the reality
Yes.
is like this and this. And we did,
Yep.
like, there was like a squirrel on the road and I was like, "Remember the squirrel?" Like, and it comes off to people as, like, too open and honest, and they're like, "It's little kids and death," and I was like, "Why?" Like, do I
Yeah,
have to, like
so many.
I have to, like, make up some kinda, like, thing for a couple years and then eventually be like, "By the way, the word for this is this," and
I
I don't know.
know.
It's also
Just getting straight to the point.
yeah, and some level of, like, maybe my husband and I just don't have, like, that tiring, like, parenting, like, editing, like, "Oh, here's the" I'm like,
No, I think that's good.
they just come
I
along.
mean, yeah, yeah, and you're still learning. Like, every day we're like we've never been parents before, so, like, every day, every year our child gets older and every new thing we have to face, like, we're literally this is the first time we're doing it. So, we're all trying our best out there. Like, that's, one of the things I say on my podcast all the time. Like, I genuinely like to think that everyone's trying their best. I mean, I know that's not always the case, but, like, as far as parenting, and I mean, I know for my parenting, like, I am literally I'm not gonna do great. I'm gonna fail over and over again at things. I'm gonna say the wrong thing. I'm gonna yell when I shouldn't have yelled. But, like, as long as we're, like, literally trying to do our best, then that's all we can do. Have your kids ever responded in a way that, like, stopped you in your tracks where you're like, "Wow, they really get this?"
I feel like I stole that answer. Yeah, her whole, like, "Nice Alma isn't here." We
Yeah,
went
the
through that
tornado.
yeah, we went through that for a while where 2, we had to again, because she's still 4, her learning how to get away with that too, like, one day she was in trouble. We're in the, like, timeout phase. We have the flipper timers, and she gets to visually see it, and she was like, "It's not my fault I have a cloud," and I was like, "You don't." Like,
Right.
you're there, and so
It
we
is
were learning
manipulation.
that. Yeah.
They totally manipulate us.
Yeah, so we're learning that kind of what works and what doesn't work and how to do it, but it when it does hit, I don't know, there's so much in, like, my parenting journey that is this self-doubt. I'm like, "Am I doing this right?" And "Where am I using my time?" And things like that, but then when something clicks, I'm just like, "Okay, I got that. I did that."
Yeah, it is so, like, gratifying. And, like, I something I always try to remind myself is that if we just the fact that we care whether or not we're doing a good job makes us great moms. I can already tell you're an amazing mom.
She
So,
has this,
remember that.
this ability to because I have these moments, like, I am the, like, emotional, like, stuff will be so cute, I cry person too, so
Yes.
she has these moments where she has figured that out, and I can hear her whispering to her little brother, she's like, "Watch this, mom's gonna come in and cry," and, like, she'll, like, be
Stop.
hugging him on the couch and be like, "Max and I picked up together, now we're cuddling," and I'm like, "I am gonna cry, it's so cute." Or she'll do something and realize, like, unexpectedly it was cute, and she'll, "Oh, mom, you're gonna cry, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yes, I am."
I'm actually a big crier too, and my kids are always like, "Mom's crying again." I'm
So
like,
I do
I
love
don't
those
wanna.
moments where they're, like, excited or, like, know it's gonna happen. Or she'll do it on
Yeah.
purpose, like, she'll know she's in trouble, and so, like, she's in her drawing era, so, like, she'll know she's in trouble, so she'll hurry up and draw, like, this cute picture of the whole family, and I was like, "I want this, but I know what you're doing."
Oh, no. No, mine'll be like, "I hate mom." Like, "Mom's the worst mom ever," and I'll get it, like, slid under my door. And I'm like, "Oh god, I am." Oh, it's a journey. Motherhood is a journey. Okay, I wanna shift a little bit to talk about your book. When did you feel, and I guess we kind of already mentioned this just because there wasn't a book out there like that, of that kind, but the question is, when did you feel called to write this book? Or when did you I mean, because it could have been you could have written it as, like, an essay or a, blog post or something, but you chose a children's book, like, tell me about that journey and how you landed there.
It was always a bedtime story, and
Okay.
I I had started going through autoimmune stuff, and
Mm,
I love, like, fitness-based things, and I had just kind of got to, like, a comfort zone. I had, over-exercising eating disorder, and I had finally kind of broke behaviors, and I was in therapy, and I was like, "Okay, like,
mm,
I'm at a happy place with my body and everything," and after my son, all my hormones just killed my body. So
yeah.
I got in this, I don't know what to eat, I don't know my identity, I was reacting to a lot of meds. So I was like deep in Reddit, just like, and my
Mhm,
husband's like, get out. And it was very visual that mom was always in a funk because I would wake up and have
mhm,
a flare up or I'd eat and get sick. And
mhm.
it became that we were talking about the cloud a lot more. And
Right.
so I decided like I do need a hobby. And so I was gonna make it just like a scrapbook. I was going to like write our rhyming story down. We were gonna go to the beach and take pictures of us and act out the scenes. And I was gonna have
Cute.
it as a memory and be like, this is how mom got through that time.
Mhm.
And when I started doing that, I'd asked a friend, I was like, "What if you drew it?" Because she always draws pictures in our house, and it just kept kind of changing to, like, what if we, like, made a bound book and stuff, and I had then started an Instagram to be accountable for sharing what I was going through. I was like, "I need to talk to people about this." My support group was really helping, so I was like, "I'm just gonna share, like, cloudy days," and it was the reception of, like, positivity from that that I was like, "All right, what if we just kept talking about this? And what if we made it into an actual book and we got, like, illustrations done?" And I had started putting it out there for traditional publishing, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Let's just see how they felt." But it was a lot of hearing traditional publishers like, "Well, I don't resonate. This is too, like, niche," and but knowing on the other hand, like, Instagram was growing and people were reaching out and
Right.
stuff, and I was like, "I don't
Right.
think so." So we decided to self-publish it and then just use a lot of, like, our website proceeds to give back and do acts of kindness or donate it to
Wow.
certain place and do things like this where we go speak to people and say, like, "Okay, let's just start that conversation to say I'm having a cloudy day, but I still enjoy a lot of parenting and find that balance of, like, it's okay to talk about the hard parts," because I hadn't when I shared, then a lot of people were like, "Oh, like, I went through that too," and I was like,
Me too.
honestly, I was like, "Really?" Because I felt like I had a cloudy day because all I ever saw was you talking about how great everything was. Like, it would have
Right.
been better if we just said, "Hey, today is awful," but in a way that it's not just like that. I don't know, people I wanna say there's a balance of, like, kid bashing almost, you meet someone
Mhm.
who has a baby and they're like, "Wait to this and wait to this," and, like, let's just we
Right.
know it's gonna be miserable, let's talk about the fun
Right.
stuff. So
Right.
it was a balance of, like, how to do that in this approachable language, and then how to kind of create a platform around that to say, like, "All right, now that you talk cloudy days," the back of the book has conversation questions, and my website, I'm really focused on getting resources per each state to say, like, "Okay, now that you have the conversation, do you need therapy? Do you need family counseling? Do you need supports?" And kind of where to
Mhm.
find them.
Where can we buy your book?
So, I'm only on Amazon for international and libraries. I can't turn it off.
Okay.
My website is where we sell direct and then we
Okay.
ship. And with that, again, we use the proceeds to we have a pay it forward initiative on there where we buy one, give
Wow.
one. We use proceeds for the book every month. It's April when we're recording this. And April is for autism awareness groups to
Mhm.
donate money there. And just we sign it. Alma signs it. She did help write a lot of
Cute.
the book. And so she signed it and she likes signing them. She negotiated her contract. It's like 10 books is a cookie. So the art gets
That's
a little
awesome.
wonky for like books 8 to, to 10. It's now I'm on book 2, and because Max knows that Alma only gets to sign because she helped, he wanted to help with book 2, and he finally came into language. So last night I actually read them, the very first, like, I feel good draft,
Oh, exciting.
and, he was really excited for some of his lines getting in there, so I would, like, read them,
Yay.
and he was like, "That's me," and I was like,
Oh my
"Aw."
gosh, how cool. When a family finishes reading your book, what do you hope they feel?
I It's hard because 'cause I've heard feedback, so I'm like, I know which ones I get all excited to hear what they took away from it. Like, I've heard kids ask, like, why mom only has the cloud, and then they've had to start that conversation, and I've heard kids say, like, "Oh, like, my mom gets sad too," and I hope they feel just some kind of understanding of either, "Hey, I feel like that, and this is how I can talk about it," or, "Hey, I've noticed you kinda seem like you have a cloud, and how do we help you?" A big part of what I do for adults in the support realm is talking about, like, the care plan. So, when my cloud rolls in, like, my husband used to ask, like, "Why?" And I was like, "I don't know, stop asking that." And now he
Yeah.
asks, like, "How do I help? Do you need support or just comfort? Do you need solution or just sit
Mm.
here?" And so it's that kind of conversation is what I hope people have. I want people to be able to, like, identify that clouds exist for other people or themselves, and then what happens next.
Your husband sounds like a phenomenal man.
Sometimes I do have to put the caveat. He knows I say it too, though, because I in reality, then it's hard because when we struggle, people are like, "Not you 2, like, in the book," and I'm like, "No, like, even this week, we've kinda our anniversary is coming up, and we kind of both forgot to prioritize."
Oh,
And so, it was one of those conversation where I was like, "This was really important to me, and you didn't pick up on it," and kind of his talking about how I needed to, like, say more of what I meant instead of hints,
right.
and so it was that kind of we had to pause yesterday, and I did, like, the parking lot where I was like, "I need to talk about this. I don't wanna spring it on you. When you get your mind around this is the conversation, we need to come back to it," and we did it this
Yep.
morning, and it was that approach of, like, sometimes it's really, really great, and I told him too, I was like, "I know you're always there for me. I know you're always gonna be, like, the cheerleader and stuff. Like, right now, I needed to switch from cheerleading to taking over and, like, being the coach."
Right.
And so that is part of it too, is I don't I know a lot of people tell me that, and I'm not discrediting, he is so amazing, and I wouldn't have kids without his ability to step up and be there for me,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
it's the same way of, like, I can't not have someone, like, feel alone because they're like, "Well, I don't have a supportive husband," and I'm like, "It's okay. I've have coached mine too," but it's
Like, he's
that
not like that all the time.
yes, and I think that's a big part of the resources, and my blog too is like, here are some fights that we had to go to get here, and it's okay to go through those fights
Yeah.
and still get here. There is hope for, like, being willing to sit down, like, it took us a while, like, knowing how loving we were for each other and how much we click, we got to a point where I would, like, complain to a friend, and she's like, "You guys should go to couples therapy," and I was like, "No, not us, like, we're so great together, like, look at," and
Right.
it was, like, when the book was coming out too, and I was like, "We have this book about how great he supports me, and he's always there
Right.
on my cloudy days," and she's like, "It doesn't matter, like, you should still go to therapy and have someone else hear those headbutt moments." That's actually when we both got diagnosed with ADHD that was, like, competing ADHD, and
Oh, there
it
you go.
kind of unlocked, like, okay, it's really not us, like, fighting, it's just us
Mhm.
not understanding each other's perspective of ADHD.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Nothing's ever as perfect as it seems, just like Instagram, just like all the things we don't share. But luckily, you do, and that's helpful. Share the bad times because that's what resonates with people. That's what helps people. That's what makes people feel normal. So let's talk about just like mental health in children, maybe in general. My kids are in therapy right now because I'm recently going through a divorce. And it was kind of a no brainer for me. Like the second we told him, we put him into therapy just because I'm so heavily into therapy and think it's such a useful tool. And it's helped me like actually create this whole business and this whole thing. And so I don't know, what would you say to someone who is maybe like, I don't think therapy's for me, or I don't think kids will resonate with therapy or something like that.
A big goal of mine is to have a bunch of different types of therapy, a bunch of different, like, states and things out there because I met with someone yesterday and she said, like, there's a number where, like, the average woman might go see 75 specialists throughout their life, whether they're changing doctors, therapists, counselors,
Mhm.
etcetera, before it hits, and I was like, "I do get that." I've tried probably 3 or 4 therapists, and then I kinda stopped one for a little while because they were good for a little while, and then it got
Mhm.
bad. If someone is just like, "No, therapy is not for me," it's maybe the therapy you tried. And
Right.
I think it always benefits to find what resonates with you, and it doesn't have to look like the traditional therapy. And nowadays, there's so many options. I even met someone who does this fantastic, just like guided therapy where you like call and leave a voicemail and they leave a voicemail back. So you don't have to
Oh,
worry about
cool.
that pressure of like scheduling. Find what helps you get out those emotions, and even if it's like and not like physical therapy because that literally like PT, but, if it's a running group who then that's who you vent to and those are your people and you do something. I just
Mhm.
think, like, the immediate shutting down, going, like, "Therapy is not good," like, what therapy? Like, what
Right.
one are you against? Because there is something to help someone out there, and it just has to be what they resonate with, and it's interesting because I'm not religious, and I really don't mean to offend anyone, but, like, for someone to say, like, therapy isn't great, but then, like, blind religious faith is something they follow. I'm like, it's kind of
Mhm.
similar idea. Like, I'm not
Mhm.
religious. I don't follow that. I do really support therapy because I feel the guidance and the foundation and all of that
Yes.
pulls me through what I need. My daughter, my husband and I both have ADHD, so I know she's getting something. I see signs of her getting frustrated, and her tornado is like her inability to kind of regulate and calm down. So I'm like,
Right.
if it
Right.
would help her to start talking to someone, I'm happy if that's not me, but she finds her person.
Yeah, because 'cause you're right, the right therapist is really important, and sometimes you find the wrong one, and then you think you hate therapy, but no, you just don't like that you don't r you're not meshing with that person, and so for kids, that's gotta be hard because they probably don't know what to expect and, like and it's mostly play therapy, so gosh, I don't know, that is a hard one to think about because my kids kinda like it, actually, I'm like, "It's time to go to therapy," and just very rarely will they be like, my daughter would be like, "Mom, I don't need it. Like, I'm fine." I was like, "I know you're fine. I just want you to have someone else to talk to in case you want to talk about anything you want to talk about that's not with me or your dad." Okay, I have a last little segment that's like kind of just a playful, like rapid fire question segment. So, are you ready for the hot seat segment? Step on a Lego or something wet that you don't know what it is.
Oh, Lego.
I know, because you're a water. I knew the water thing. Okay. Cry in the shower or cry in the car?
Or you get music.
Mhm, mhm. Family outing or family movie day in?
Outing.
20 book orders in one day or a no tornado day?
Book orders. I'm like,
Okay.
that would it means someone else is figuring out their life. I'll take the pain.
um, would you rather take family photos or take overly tired kids to an amusement park that you paid a lot of money for?
Amusement park, because even if they sleep, I'll go on rides. Dad can watch them.
Yes. Oh my god, I hate family photos. Sticky hands or sandy feet?
My feet.
Okay. Okay, this is the last one. On the hard days, I try to and I want you to finish the sentence.
Try to end on a positive note.
Perfect. And what a great way to end this episode. I mean, that was a really that was perfect. Good job, Kendall.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being again so vulnerable with me and sharing your experiences. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thanks for the safe space. After podcasts, my husband will usually say, like, "What did you talk about?" And it's just mind blowing to be like trauma, but we laughed the whole time. Like,
Exactly.
so it's just thanks for, I don't know, believing in mommy artists and creating this really great kind of taking what feels heavy to us and turning it into art.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a good rest of your day. All right, besties, my glass is empty, but my cup is full, and that means it's the end of the episode. Remember that you can't have butterfly conversations with caterpillar people and that everyone out there is trying their best. Love you. Bye. You can find the Mommy Artists podcast on YouTube to watch the full video. Give it a like, hit subscribe, and come back next week for more iconic chaos and creative magic. But no worries if not.